right, hockey fans across the province of Ontario, senior hockey fans. It's great to be back with the Blocking Biscuits podcast. I am your host tonight, Treh Hamilton, joined alongside my producer, Mr. Brad Thompson. We got a special guest on tonight, but first and foremost, Brad, how you doing, buddy? It's good to have you back.
Doing good. You know what? Episode 3 feels good to be here, and it's every episode where we keep rolling and it gets more and more exciting. We get excited with the guests we have on. We've had some really great guests so far, and I'm really excited for this one tonight.
Yeah, this guest takes it to the next level. I got to say, we got a guy that I've had the
You might be a
pleasure.
little you might be a little bit biased on this
Yeah,
one
Listen,
though.
little biased, but that's okay.
listen. I watched this guy win a playoff MVP. Carried the team on his back, and obviously our paths went different ways over the last couple of years. But one of the best senior hockey goaltenders I've ever had the pleasure of watching. Just an amazing guy all around. I mean, a guy who's community first and fits right in with the team that he's slotted into now. Even though he's probably the second best goaltender in the room, but we'll talk about that later. Welcome to the show, folks. Mr. Matt Sagrott, goaltender, number 34 for the Stoney Creek Tigers, also co-owner of the Stoney Creek Tigers of the Allen Cup Hockey League. Sags, how you doing, man?
Good, and wow, what an intro. How do I follow up after that?
Got to knock it out of the park right there. I mean, like I said, I have a ring up in my closet, and I don't think I'd have it if it wasn't for you, buddy. So I had to knock that one out of the park. But no, man. Obviously, like I said, it's been a couple of years, and the scenes have switched for both of us here, and we find ourselves back on the same round table having a chat again. And
Yeah,
that's just the nature of hockey and being around senior hockey. Obviously,
hockey's a small world, man.
it really is, and it blows your mind every time you think about it. But when I got asked to host this podcast, it was an honor to me, and I'm really happy to be back on air. And when they asked, do you guys want to dig around for some guests in the Allen Cup? I knew you'd be a good guy to talk to because you're part of right now the number one team in the ACHL. You guys are on a tear right now. You guys are on a heater. You only got one regulation loss all season, and obviously we got a few stories we're gonna get to. But Sags, just tell me how's the year going and what's it been like getting back into probably the most competitive ex-pro senior hockey league in Canada.
Yeah, it's been great. It's definitely come with its challenges trying to juggle running a team and playing at the same time. But when you got a 14-1-2 record, it's hard to complain. But yeah, things have been going really well, and like I said, definitely come with its challenges. But really, really thrilled with how things have gone.
For sure. I mean, it seems like you guys have really good community support in Stony Creek, and I know obviously over the years there's been a few name changes, ownership changes, etc. Did you play? Was it the Generals when you were last with Stony Creek?
Yep, I was with the Generals for 4 years.
So now you come back all the way around full circle. The Hamilton pride, obviously rocking the Tigers, throwing it back way back to the early 1900s with the Hamilton Tigers, who we shouted out
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
What's that been like for you, and just in terms of the community support? Because it's hard to sell senior hockey in a big city. So what's that been like for you guys?
Yeah, like I said, that's one of the big challenges that we've faced, in Hamilton. There is so many things you can do in the city, and senior hockey might not be very high on the list. So, me coming on board, my biggest thing to do was, find ourselves to be in a community-oriented team, and I felt that changing arenas and going to Stony Creek Arena was the main thing that was going to help drive that. So. Basically everything we do now is just try to be a community driven team, and so far it's been pretty good. Like I said, it comes with its challenges with, there's been, I think the first 2 games of the year the Jays won the World Series, and then we had a game mid-season and it was the World Juniors. So like we faced a lot of challenges in our game days. So but things are starting to unfold pretty nicely.
Trust me, we all faced that Jays playoff run working for other senior hockey teams. It's
Yeah.
amazing what a Jays run will do to your gait. But
Oh,
how did you get involved with the ownership team? So obviously, Trey from Tilsonburg, and you played for Tigers back in the day. But what brought you back to the ACH, and what brought you into the ownership situation?
Yeah, so actually hilariously that my the co-owner is Daniel Svedin, who him and I were goalie partners back in the day with the Generals. Opportunity fell in his lap where, we need to run a team or, the league is on the brink of folding. So he kind of took the reins and started to run a team, and I helped him with a lot of the digital marketing on that side of things. And then, just as things kind of unfolded, it seemed like it was a lot for one person to handle. So I kind of reached out and said, "Hey, like, what's it going to take to get me involved? Like, I want to be a part of this and grow this together." And you know, lo and behold, here we are.
Now, who said goaltenders didn't get along? Obviously they do. I mean, they're all nutcases, but I mean that's a great
We know
partnership from
that.
you. Yeah, yeah. Well, you're the only one here who's not a goalie, so watch your mouth over there, buddy. We got a little
I'm the only sane one in this room right now.
Hard to
Ron
argue. Hard to
Hextall.
argue.
We got a little Ron Hextall in us. I've seen Sags have his moments, so but but no, back to the Allen Cup, getting back involved. You were in the Allen Cup, obviously with the Generals. You signed with Tilsonburg. You spent was it 4, was it 3 or 4 years? I think you came in late, so it was 4 years total, right?
Four years total, yeah.
So you're 4 years in Tilly, go win a championship and I mean that Alvidston series, that was awesome. That was a great team to be a part of. You guys are a tight knit group. And then obviously last year things happened the way they happened. Everything unfolded. Now you're back in the Allen Cup. So in that gap, from being with Generals to now with the Tigers, what are some of the differences you've noticed in the hockey side of things, the pace of play, the guys who are signing cards, right? Like, what have you noticed are the differences from when you were with the Generals to now back around with the Tigers?
I would just say the depth in the teams. There's so many highly skilled players in the Hamilton area that there's enough to fulfill some pretty good depth on these teams. Um, just the way they move the puck is a little bit differently, where there's a little bit more puck movement and rather than skating the puck up the ice. That's kind of been the big change. Um, yeah, I would say it's the way they move the puck is the big difference.
It's an experience kind of thing, right? Like there's a lot of ex-pro guys now in senior hockey all across Ontario in all three of these loops, and obviously there's a little bit more pro talent in the NPHL versus the OEHL just because the geographic areas for a lot of those teams. And then obviously with the Allen Cup, you get a lot of those guys who are Golden Horseshoe area guys, and
Yeah,
we know
and
how
and
good.
and part of that is just like your card issues, right? Like we have an unlimited number of pros we can sign, right? Where there's restrictions in other leagues, that's
Yeah.
just a different ball game.
Exactly. That comes with the AAA title, right? Is
Yep.
it's a pride of, we're the best league and this is how we want to do it, right? In terms of the experienced players. And I mean it's good to hear though that like you said, the it's changed a little bit obviously over the last 4 years when you were away, but overall it's still, the Allen Cup. There's still what to expect. But is it tough because we're sitting at 5 teams now. You're on the ownership side of it now. Do you see the league trying to expand in the future, or are they going to kind of sit at 5 for a few years and feel things out? Because I know after COVID, everybody got hurt real bad, and I know that
Yeah.
they were close to folding as well. But what is the future plans of expansion for the Allen Cup?
Yeah, well, I like think you hit the nail on the head there. We're running a three-team league. I mean, I wasn't part of it, but it was a three-team league. It's hard to get excited. So this growth to 5 teams, and it's 5 competitive teams. Like anyone can compete with anyone on any given night. So that's been pretty helpful. I'm not sure exactly how quick we want to grow. That's going to be up for debate. Like you obviously don't want to grow too fast, right? But I think we're okay where we are for a couple of years to kind of, solidify a great foundation and then, sell what this league really is.
For sure. I mean, you guys have the history obviously on your side. I mean, Brad and I talked about it in our first episode, right? I mean, you're going back to the early 1900s that the Allen Cup's been handed out, and the only consistently handed out hockey trophy that has been around longer has the name of Lord Stanley on it. So, I mean,
Yeah,
hard to compete with that one, but
pretty good company.
pretty good company. And I know that obviously the tournament this year is going to be out on the East Coast. Obviously, Tigers, you guys have your focus. You're set on obviously getting out to the East Coast. And I wanted to ask you these a lot of these guys work jobs, obviously. I mean, 9 to 5 guys. What is it going to be like to juggle those challenges of trying to get your best players and your whole team at as much as you can out to Newfoundland for the Allen Cup tournament?
So I think that's what makes our team so successful is our buy-in. I think in previous years, you could tell that this team might not have been as good as other teams in the league, but their buy-in is what made them so competitive. So this year we've added some key pieces that kind of put us to the next level, but we've kept that camaraderie, that chemistry that we've had for years, right? So our buy-in's been so strong, and every game, we got good bodies coming in. So we've already got some majority commitment for the Allen Cup. As a like we've kind of said, like, this is our goal. We said, like, from the beginning, like, we need to make sure you're available. If you can't make it, then we got to look at our options at that point, right? So
For sure.
um, we're looking, pretty much everybody's available to go to the Allen Cup right as of right now.
That's awesome. That's good to hear because it's a competitive tournament. I mean, obviously, there's people across senior hockey involved in other leagues always have criticisms of it, but it's still there. It's still operating. It's been going on for a very long time, a lot longer than, I mean, many of us have been alive, obviously.
Yeah,
Um, what's the seating like in terms of the GTA area teams, well, the Hamilton area teams? How is that going to work for qualification? Because for us, like we both obviously work in the NPHL, so we're juggling in our minds the outlaw tournament that they do at the end of the year, figuring out seeding and stuff. How's the seeding going to work? Because obviously there's a few less teams in the loop this past couple of years, pretty much since COVID. So
yeah.
who's coming? Who's coming, and how do they qualify?
Yeah, so I think obviously everybody knows the Deer Lake situation, and to be honest, I don't want to speak too much out of character, like, in case I say something that's not public knowledge or whatnot. But
Mhm.
in our league, Wentworth has the buy-in, and then it's going to be the next runner-up team, whether or the champion or whoever loses to Wentworth. And as Brad mentioned, Minto now has a berth into the Allen Cup.
Yeah. So that'll be you got two teams out east, right? Now that
Yeah,
Deer Lake's out.
yeah,
You got you guys, or like we said, I'm not gonna put the cart before the horse, but
yeah, yeah.
I think if I was a betting man in the Allen Cup, I think I know who I'm going on. I've seen this guy perform in the playoffs, right?
But
Big Swede, you got to watch out because when Sags gets hot, buddy, it's over. I'm just bugging you. I know you and Razor had a good tandem for a few years there, but
it's true.
when Sags gets hot, you can go on a run. But so
Yeah,
you
no,
got
we've set ourselves up for success, and I think it's ours to lose.
absolutely. You guys have proven head to head with Wentworth, right? That you guys know not only can you compete, but you guys firmly believe you can beat them. And obviously, playoffs are a whole different animal.
Yeah, yeah,
We can talk about that ad nauseum
yeah.
at pretty much every level of hockey. So it'll be obviously the two teams out east, you guys or Dundas or whoever gets in there, and obviously Wentworth with the buy-in. Um, and then Minto. Are there any other teams that are going to be jumping in? Is there any guys from out west or anything like that, or is it just that group?
To my knowledge, Powell River is the sixth team.
Okay, so Pearl River, is that Alberta then, or
British Columbia.
BC?
You see.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, what a flight for those boys, eh? That's gonna be wow. I mean, I guess Blocky Biscuits has got to go national now because I don't know anything. I feel guilty. I know nothing about Powell River and their senior hockey situation, but that's good for them. Are they going to be? Are they a bought in, or are they like a league champion that is getting in that way?
That is beyond my knowledge.
Yeah.
They do play in a league, it looks like. So I'm not too familiar with how that structure works.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those questions I don't have the exact answer on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get some big bosses in the Allen Cup on the show to answer all those kind of questions. But
Yeah.
no, it's gonna be a good tournament again this year. Obviously, we've had to deal with a lot of people asking us questions about Minto. There's a lot of stuff surrounding the situation with the OEHL and would the champion go? And now it looks like it's gonna be Minto whether they win the championship or not. And again, to the folks at home that are curious about that, we're talking to OEHL people every day. We're talking to Allen Cup guys literally right now. We're trying to get to the bottom of everything too, but we want to stay credible. We want to get our sources right. We're not just going to go jump the gun on anything. But it does. I get the frustration from those teams that are wondering, if I win the championship in the OEHL, shouldn't I be the AA rep? we'll get to the bottom of all that. And Segs, you did a great job answering the question because it's again it's a unique situation because there really are only five AAA teams in all of Canada really left. So to make a tournament happen way out on the East Coast with what you guys have, I think that's impressive, and hopefully it's successful. And I can't wait to obviously follow it all the way to the end because it's gonna be a fun ride for not only for you guys, obviously fingers crossed, go Tigers.
That's right.
Um, you know where I stand.
You heard it here first.
I
No bias, Trey. Come on.
No, not at all.
Hey, we promised unbiased content. I can't fulfill my promise tonight, but that's just because I got an old friend that, like I said, I watched this guy go on a run and win a playoff MVP in a very very talented and competitive hockey league. So again, and he's got a really good goaltending partner and a really good team in front of him. So I know I'm probably ticking off some Wentworth people, but who cares? Let's spark the rivalry. Let's get it going. Let's get it even more heated of a rivalry than it already is.
That's
But
right.
If anyone from Wentworth wants to send me a jersey, I'll put it on right now and battle these two guys just for the sake of it.
Yeah,
bandwagon
why not, right? Little rivalry,
bandwagon hopper Brad over here jumping the bandwagon and getting on the Wentworth Griffins side. But no, Sags,
that's TBD after Saturday's results, right?
exactly. I was gonna say you better let the game happen before we actually start talking about this. But how many weeks are left in the regular season, and what is the playoff schedule like coming from the former league from Washel back to the Allen Cup? What's the playoff schedule look like? Is it two games a weekend, etc.?
Yeah, so we have games until February 28th. That's our last game. We were aiming to do it earlier, but scheduling conflicts, we had to push it back a week. So that pushed us into our playoff um, reserve, so to speak. So our playoffs are going to be 1, 4, and 2 and 3, and those are going to be best 3 out of 5s, and then hopefully the Tigers are successful and on the way to the Allen Cup.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously a long road ahead of you guys, but now
Yep.
I want to switch back to your earlier journey. I know that it's kind of ad nauseum for me because I had this same interview with you. It feels like a few years ago asking you your origin story.
Yeah.
But you're a guy who obviously you started your junior hockey career in Streetsville for a few games, and then Stoney Creek. That was the Warriors
Correct.
back then.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
kind of gave you that first shot in the Gouge.
Yep.
Um, what is it like? I mean, tell us. You started out as a Stony Creek kid, all the way back in what was that, 2010, in
Yep.
the Gouge, and here you are, full circle back in Stony Creek, man. It must be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was in Stony Creek, my first year, we won the Golden Horseshoe Championship and made it to the Sutherland Cup. So won a championship with the Warriors. Won our league title 4 times with the Generals and won an Allen Cup there. Third time's a charm, right?
That's right. I mean, you've gone literally full circle, all the way
Yeah.
back around. And when you were a youngster, obviously all of us dream of going to the show, and 99.99% of us don't get there. But did you see yourself one day playing in AAA senior hockey, or is that something that when it came around, you just kind of jumped on it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really, growing up, I didn't know too much about it. Like, I heard of the Real McCoys, and, back when I was young, the Real McCoys had all like
Oh yeah.
NHL players. So it didn't seem feasible. And, obviously my goals were to play pro somewhere else. So, like, it was senior hockey wasn't top of mind. But when the opportunity came, and, it's been a fun ride ever since. So, yeah, it wasn't planned at all. It just kind of fell into me, and loved every ride, every bit of it.
How did you get your first call with the Generals? Like, was it just knowing people in the community, or was it a tryout, or what was that all about?
So I actually played for Thorold first.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I played for the Athletics.
So how'd you get started with them then? Because you went from Glanbrook and jumped pretty much right into senior. So
Yeah, so just kind of tried out with them, and they were an expansion team, so they were like every expansion team, just putting together as competitive as team as you can get. And it was a very competitive team off the get-go, but just wasn't playing as much as I kind of hoped in that situation. And a lot of my buddies were in Stony Creek and kind of just pulled me off to there. And then we went, right from Thorold to Stony Creek to the Allen Cup. So it was quite the ride.
that's a pretty quick transition. Like you said, you go from Glanbrook finishing out your junior career, you jump in with an expansion team, and then boom, it's all about who you know, and then you get in with Stony Creek, and then a couple years you're now Cup champion, and then
Yeah.
obviously the train eventually led you to Tilsonburg, and that's where you and I met, and that's where I had the honor of getting to watch you. And I remember it was funny the story of how we got involved in senior hockey. My dad and I, we never really watched. Like dad took us to a few games when I was a kid. I grew up in Hamilton until I was about 8 years old, so I saw some real McCoys games with my great uncles, and they always loved the real McCoys. And we moved out to the Sarnia area. Dad was trying to get in with the border, and we watched a few Pro Squires games back in the day, and I was a really young kid. We moved to Tilsonburg. He got a job at General Motors, and
Yep.
watched a few Vipers games here and there back way back with the Tilsonburg Vipers, and
Yeah.
just never got back into it for a few years. And we were just hanging out on a Saturday, and we thought, well, we're either gonna go to the bar and spend too much money, or we can maybe go watch some hockey. We came out. You guys were playing the Strathroy Jets on a Saturday night in Tilsonburg. So at that time you had Jamie McQueen, you had Brandon Buck going head to head. You were in net. It wasn't DeBrouwer at the time. That was a year before he came
It
around,
was
but
Diamond.
I think it was Diamond. Yep.
Yep.
And right away we were like, wow, this is talented, right? And I mean, it just for the people at home that don't get to watch senior hockey, maybe you're in the city of Hamilton, you're excited for the new AHL team, whatever. I think that that's a message I want to send is that, yeah, this guy didn't play the NHL, but guess what? He's a damn good goaltender. He's got a good group of guys around him. If you got nothing else to do on the weekend and you want to spend a few bucks and go watch good hockey, I can promise you that it's right there in your backyard. You don't have to go watch the Leafs and cry like everybody else that watches the Leafs.
Yeah.
They beat two of the worst teams in the league, and now they're back in the cup, apparently, according to Brad. So, but no, all honesty, guys, all jokes aside, it's not a pump in the tires of this guy specifically. It's just that senior hockey is readily available in your community, and go out and check out a game before you make any criticisms or say, because I love seeing the guys on social media, oh, I could play in this. What is this beer league? I could play in this. Go ahead, try out, come out to a game and watch it for yourself. And then go ahead, put on some skates and let's see it happen because I guarantee it's not gonna. So come
Well,
out, support it.
I'm gonna add to that, and the teams that are doing a really good job. The Tilsonburg Notoriously's run a great show.
Hmm.
Almaston's doing a great job. Strathroy looks like they're selling out. The atmospheres that these teams are building are awesome, and I can only imagine it as a fan's perspective. And I'm sure we're gonna jump into this in a bit, but we had our community rally game last weekend, and I didn't dress. But I sat in the stands and just felt what it was like to be as a fan, and man, it was awesome. Like it was so good. Um, but yeah, I would just think the atmospheres that are in these arenas, like there's something to be said for it.
For sure. And speaking of arenas, like you just mentioned, there a big story that was going on around the Stony Creek Tigers. That's one of the big reasons we wanted to have you on because we wanted you to tell the story, Segs.
Mhm.
Looked like there was, some issues with municipal local government trying to close down the arena in Stony Creek that you guys just got into, and it seems like the community, the people rallied around you guys, and the Tigers are here to stay at Stony Creek Arena. Tell us the story, Segs, start to finish. Let us know how this all went down.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I mentioned before that, we really wanted Stony Creek to be a community-driven team. Stony Creek Arena is in the heart of downtown Stony Creek. I found that our previous facility, a little bit hard to get to, might not have been the best for building a community where now we're right in the middle, right in the heart, right? So that was kind of step number one. So we made this move to come to Stony Creek Arena to build a community. And not knowing what the future held for the arena, we plan to be here for years, right? So obviously, news breaks out 2 Fridays ago that the ice is going to be removed permanently. We had no idea about this. This is news to us. Like, what the heck? We made this move to be part of the community, and like, this kind of backfiring, right? So, um, with the support of the community, our politicians, Matt Francis, Jeff Beattie, Neil Lumsden, Ned Courage, they took it on head first. Community pressure poured on, and ultimately the mayor's office pulled back on their decision, and Stony Creek Arena is here to stay for now at least.
That's amazing. I mean, that's a story of community coming together, and obviously, like you said, the members of municipal government stepping in as well and saying no, 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 let's take a step back here. Let's understand the impact of local hockey. I know obviously some of our buddies like Frankie at Hockey Illuminati right now, Coach Chippy, these guys are fighting right now to
Yeah.
to to save a couple of arenas in Toronto
Yeah.
that they're trying to close down. And that's the big thing with senior hockey is that a lot of it is rooted, just like you said, in community, right? Like you played at Alvinston with that stupid horn that's so freaking loud. And you know how some of these small barns, Petrolia back in the day, it's these small barns that are in the small towns and even within the townships of big cities. These are rooted in community. They have history, and they're what help keep senior hockey going. So, I'm really happy to hear that they were able to step up and do you guys a solid because I mean, you guys are showing success. You guys are getting a good number of fans to games, and to come in and just tell you guys, hey, we're taking the ice out in 2 weeks, and it's never going to be back. Like that's something that obviously is a no go, and I'm really glad that it got solved because that would have
The
been.
the problem we had is there was no plan for an alternative. So like it was just it's gone and that's the end of that. It's like, well, what are we going to do now, right?
Yeah, I mean, they'd say, well, there's a bunch of arenas in Hamilton, but you're in Stony Creek, you're downtown Stony Creek. That's where the people are. Like I know from my experience, working and being around owners in this at this level that, you have to pick a demographic and a community and target those people through social media, through newspaper articles, through TV features with local news stations, stuff like that. And you guys did that. You guys brought the fans in, and for them to come out and just kind of slap in your face like that. Obviously, it must have been frustrating for the guys, but like you said, Lumsden and those guys really stepped up. Did you guys a solid, and we're glad to hear that because that's something that it's a historic arena, it's a historic venue, it's a historic league, it's a historic organization. There's just no need to throw a loop like that right in the middle of a season, right? So
Yeah, exactly. So it was nice that our platform that we've built so far was able to assist in this pressure that we put onto the mayor's office, which ultimately ended in a victory for us.
As happy as I am that it happened, it would have been pretty cool if it had happened after that game that you guys hyped up. It would have been cool to see all the fans chanting "Save the rink" or whatever they would have been doing. I mean, I'm sure it was a great celebration after, but the social media campaign that you guys put
Started.
together. Yeah, no, 100%. You guys started the social media campaign. You basically all the pressure on the politicians came from your guys' post and the save the rink game. And it would have been cool to see you guys have that game and then it have, culminate to that, no, we're, the rink's gonna stay open. But it's
Yeah.
still it's a great regardless, it's a great story and it's I'm sure that night was a great victory for everyone, fans, players,
Yeah.
staff,
Yeah,
ownership
we we
alike.
we turned it into a community rally and kind of say like this is why we kept this arena open. Like the community supports hockey, and I'm gonna detour a little bit, but we brought out members of each team that rent the ice at that arena. So we had Stony Creek Minor Hockey, we had Glencaster Minor Hockey, Stony Creek Girls, and Hamilton Hawks, who they all rent ice at Stony Creek Arena. We had them present and on the ice for the ceremonial puck drop. So it really meant a lot for a lot of people there.
for
That's
sure.
perfect.
For sure. And that's exactly why, proving once again that the community is over everything ultimately. And we still need these small town sports. Now I know I say small town just because you know where I live, man. It's out in the small town, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
But for even in the big cities, I mean, like we said, you got the Bulldogs, they got pulled, they got moved to Brantford. Hamilton notoriously has struggled to support high level sports if it's not the absolute elite of the elite for the Tiger Cats. I mean, CFL franchise, top Canadian Football League, they get a great following, but they've had troubles with supporting the American Hockey League Bulldogs,
Yep.
etc., all the way down to the OHL Bulldogs. So to have these small community rooted teams that have been in and around the Allen Cup for all these years, it's good to see everything still flowing. And I mean, hopefully, for the league's sake, the Hamilton area is such a key part of it, right? I know St. Catharines and Cambridge are now involved, and you've lost Brampton and stuff, and over the years, and Brantford, et cetera. There's teams that come and go, right? But those core Hamilton area teams are what really makes the Allen Cup Hockey League what it is. It keeps that AAA title, keeps the legitimacy within it. So for you guys to save that arena, that's big. And you said yourself earlier off the record, you were kind of got involved with the Tigers through the social media side of things. We just had Kyle Thompson on. Obviously, he's the guy that does all the filming for 48 Cuts is his name. He does all the filming for Alvinston. Um, Talk about the social media side of it because you had mentioned it. Obviously, a lot of senior hockey teams, especially I'm finding the OEHL and the Allen Cup, a lot of old timers that love the league, and that's not a bad thing whatsoever. But a lot of those guys are in the newspapers and on the forums online and stuff. How did you come in and change things or help to move it in the right direction? And what are the steps that some of these other teams should follow to kind of fall suit with the Tigers?
Yeah, I'm going to make a shout out first before we jump into this. And you were mentioning communities and communities that support the Allen Cup. Got to shout out Dundas, obviously. They've been around. This is their 25th year. Kind of similar to us, a smaller town community within a big city. They have a good following. Whatever they've been doing has been successful, in 25 years in the senior hockey league is a tremendous honor. So I got to give a shout out to them for that, as you mentioned that point. But jumping into like the marketing, my background is in digital marketing, and I just saw an area realistically in the Allen Cup where it was lacking, and I've actually rebuilt the league website, and I've built all the teams' new websites, and I've kind of we've modernized quite a bit since then, right? And being active is probably the biggest thing I would say that's going to help drive this league, right?
Well, it's the social media generation now, right? Like
Yeah.
it's you want to target. Obviously, like I said, you got that older group of guys that have been around. Like I said, like my great uncles, dude. They were Hamiltoners, born and raised. Ironically, last name Hamilton. Majority of my family is born and raised in Hamilton. That's where I grew up too. Those older guys are the ones that love and support the senior hockey, and they're the ones that got to see Rick Vive playing for the Real McCoys back in the late '90s and stuff like that. Those guys are still there, but you got to target and bring in the newer generation. And obviously, these kids are all TikTok, 30-second attention span. Like we know, we're gonna take this episode and we'll cut it up into a million different pieces and post it
Yeah.
40 different times because that's just the way the attention spans of the modern generation work. So what's it like? What are the challenges of trying to attract the attention of that next generation? And what have you guys found that's been successful in terms of the marketing side of things for bringing that next wave of kids, youngsters, young families into the barn in Stoney Creek?
Well, yeah, and I think last week with 48 Cuts, he kind of, he set the bar for content,
Yeah.
and content's the key right now. And you know, we're at a point where like we got to walk before we can run, kind of thing. So we're not at a point where we can produce high quality content, high quality videos like he can. We're
Mhm.
we're we're getting content, game photos and stuff like that. But our next step will be to get some consistent high level videos like what they put out. So the challenge is getting the content. I would say that's the big one. So
For
yeah,
sure. Well, it's about finding the right people too, right? Like
it's hard.
o-
Well,
obviously in
that's
Hamilton.
one thing we talked about on the last episode is, finding the right people. And that's one thing Kyle 48 Cuts talked about is all you have to do is find the right people. There's a lot of students out there who are looking to build their portfolio.
Yeah,
And it's finding the right people who can create that content for your team. That's how I got started in senior hockey. I started working social media for the Aaron Blitz back in the day. And
yeah.
basically that's what it is.
Boo.
It's get out of here.
Mhm.
Um, it's finding the right people, and those people are out there. So that's like one thing we always love to say to teams. And it was a great interview with Kyle. That these people are out there, especially in the Hamilton area. I'm sure there's lots of students who want to get involved, and that content comes, and that content is going to bring the younger age to the senior hockey movement.
For
Absolutely.
sure. Because the talent, that's the one thing I have learned from being around senior hockey is the talent can only take you so far. And in terms of bringing fans, right? Like you guys have an excellent team. Wentworth has an excellent team. Dundas has an excellent team. But everybody at every senior hockey league right now is finding out the hard way that you can have unlimited number of ex-pro guys. It's not necessarily going to translate to fans. I mean, look at Orangeville. You got the jersey back there. I work with the Blitz, right? And It's not that they're struggling to bring fans in, but bringing all these ex-pro guys, Tyler Randall, Ben Thompson, these guys that, Justin Auger, Keenan Suthers, these guys all multi years in the AHL, had sniffs and cups of coffee in the NHL. And it's hard to get the community to come out and support just based on those guys, right? So attracting that next generation is going to be a little tougher, I think, than the older days. But we got to be part of it. I wanted to kind of, as we get closer to closing out, obviously nobody likes to just sit there and dwell on the past and live in the past, but we got to be there, Sags, in that arena in Tilsonburg, an arena that seats 1,000, and we got to see 1,200 people. Game 7 of the championship, the most raucous environment I've ever seen at a senior hockey game. And I remember the last time we chatted on a podcast, it was one of the things you mentioned that your days winning the Allen Cup and being on TSN and everything were a high point. But that game 7 in Tilsonburg kind of was this ecstatic feeling. And it's obviously very difficult to recreate that at any level. But we look back at what those guys did and what Mike Hawley and Bill and all those guys did. They brought the attention through the community. And at the end of the day, the nights that you saw guys like Rebry out signing cards at Tim Hortons on a Tuesday night, those are the kind of nights that really help to bring the community out. And then you had the winning team and you had the community support. Boom. You have a team with the road team that's bringing 350 fans on a bus too. That never hurts.
Yeah.
But no, that was a cool night to be a part of, and I'm sure it's a memory that you're probably going to carry with you, just like me, for a very long time. And like that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a highlight for sure. And it's, unfortunately our end goal, winning the Allen Cup, can't do it at home. But, if we have a chance to win the Robertson Cup in front of a sold out house in Stony Creek Arena, like that's gonna be pretty close, man. Like that's pretty that could be pretty awesome. But to touch on your community based events, we've started to do that and change the tone in this team. And it's, we've had a Stony Creek Minor Hockey Association night. We've had Hockey Fights Cancer where we donated $3,000 to cancer fighting. We've had first responders night. We had a community rally. We got a lot of stuff. We got Family Day coming up. We're changing the narrative and becoming a solely community based team.
For sure. That's huge, man. That's how you build it. And now that you're on the ownership side of things, obviously you're gonna have to shift the focus, right, to helping to like you said, dig roots in the community. And as a guy who's just a player, you're obviously still worried about it because you want fans in the building, you want the team to succeed. That's the ultimate goal of a player. But now on the ownership side of things, does it change the perspective mentally on the preparation within these events and planning and stuff like that?
Yeah, you become a guy that can juggle multiple things at once, right? And I used to have a pregame routine where they're an hour early, I used to do this. Now I'm like 5 minutes before warm-up, so I'm getting ready, kind of thing. So like the preparation has changed from just juggling. It's a little bit chaos. But I will say, like our group of volunteers that we've kind of groomed now can kind of take care of themselves now, and it's been a pretty good transition. We're getting to a point where it's almost self-sufficient.
Brad, you had anything to add with that one? I know
Yeah,
you're in the
no,
hockey
I
ops
mean,
side of things, so
yeah, game day operations. I can definitely speak to that because no, I know the feeling of running around an arena trying to get everything ready, and I can't imagine that feeling having to go on the ice after. So it's you kind of hit the nail on the head with the great group of volunteers that you once you have a great group of volunteers who know what they're doing, it definitely makes your job a lot easier. And it's but yes, game day operations and get everything ready for the game day is certainly a stressful task. So I can't imagine going between the pipes after doing something like that.
And of course, nothing is going to go right beforehand too, right?
And
Like,
that's people always ask me what my step count is after a game because you'll see sometimes on the streams me just running across the back of the ice because some I get on my walkie-talkie and someone says we need this and I'm sprinting across the back of the ice because we need something and
of course.
it never ends. So
I had this guy calling me. What was it? 2 weeks ago, I was calling a game in another town, and I get a call, and he's like, "I can't get the music to start playing, bro." I'm like,
I
"I
had
gotta."
I had I had the I had it was set up perfectly. and I'm taking pictures of Trey. I'm like, everything's set up, nothing's coming out. I'm not the music guy, right? But I do. I learned from Trey. I plugged everything in properly. Wasn't working, and it's just
Panicking.
there's something every game day, right?
Did you
There's
guys
always
ever,
fires to
did you
put
guys
out.
get the music? Did you guys get the music figured out that night or what?
I figured it out.
See, exactly. You didn't need me that bad, but
We weren't worried.
no, exactly. Brad's a professional of professionals, just like yourself, Sags. And I don't want to take up any more of your time, man. We got obviously a lot of great talking points tonight, man. Keep doing a great job like you're doing, both on and off the ice. Obviously, hopefully I can get to a game in Stony Creek this year. I really want to. I got a few buddies in Hamilton that've been bugging me to come out and see them, but with a young child, it's hard sometimes to make time. But I'll have a couple Saturdays free here in the coming weeks, and looking forward to coming down and seeing all the hype with the Allen Cup, because again I've never been around it since I was a youngster, but I know I could see the resumes of these guys, dude. It's no joke, right? So I want to give my respects to that. I know a lot of the Allen Cup people were a little bit upset with our first episode because they wanted us to make sure we had our facts right on things, and I'm glad we could have somebody here on the episode to not only represent the Stony Creek Tigers but also the Allen Cup, and kind of show people that we want to be able to cover all three of these leagues, and show the legitimacies, show the good and the bad from all three of them, because nobody is perfect in this world. Obviously, we've all learned that the hard way at one point in our lives, and but you guys are doing a great job, man. You have a great community support down there in Stony Creek, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to things. So have a great rest of the regular season, and obviously best of luck in the playoffs, and go Tigers.
Yeah, I just want to say, thanks for everything you guys are doing, and covering all three leagues has been awesome, and it's really cool perspective because it's different. No one's done it. I'm glad that I could have brought an Allen Cup perspective, because there is a lot of good in the league right now. A two-team growth to, we got five competitive teams. You got look in St. Catharines, they got David Pecan there. The guy's an absolute stud. You look in Cambridge, you got Dortz from Tilsonburg there, who's an absolute stud. You guys got you like there's some legitimate talent in this league, and it's nice to shine some light on it.
By the way, quickly, shout out to Dortz. I see you every freaking Leafs game when I'm watching, and I see that commercial, like the Shorzy commercial. But he's hitting the hardest celly of his life down in the corner after scoring a beautiful goal. Dortz, you're a legend, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And Segs, again, man, thank you so much for being on here tonight with us. Blocking Biscuits, like I said, we cover all things senior hockey, basically from the east side of the province all the way down to as far as Tilbury, Ontario. And hopefully, like I said, you guys have a good playoff run. And I want to see you guys out in Newfoundland this year, but I promise I don't think I'm going to be able to make that flight. So,
That's okay.
all right, guys, that was Matt Sagrott, goaltender. I won't say starting because obviously there's two of them and they're both really good, and they're also owners of the team. So I don't want to say anything that'll piss anybody off. Goaltender for the Stony Creek Tigers, number 34, also co-owner of the said Stony Creek Tigers. Again, have a great rest of your night, Sex. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.